Welcome to part 2 in this special masterclass video series where you're going to learn step by step a unique strategy that me and my partners and students have coined the takedown method. And if you do this right, the takedown method makes twice as much or more than traditional wholesaling, and you don't have to rehab houses. Now in the part 1 video, I explained in detail how the takedown method works and the 5 ways that it's better than traditional wholesaling and fix and flip. If you missed that video, stop right now and go watch it and then come back to this video. I'll put the link in the description below for you. On this video, I'm going to explain the takedown method by formula so you know exactly how to run the numbers and get to your exact offer price. But first, if you're new here, my name is Jerry Norton. I make millions of dollars a year wholesaling and flipping houses. And here on my YouTube channel, I show you how to do the same. So if you want to be a flipping genius like me and live your dream life, subscribe to my channel and watch my videos. Remember, the goal when doing the takedown method is to turn these deals in 30 to 60 days and make twice as much profit or more as traditional wholesaling without having to fix up properties. Now later in this series, I'm going to show you how to do this with 100% funding, but first you need to know how to analyze deals. Once you identify a good takedown opportunity, you need to determine the maximum allowable offer, or MAO, so you know what to offer the seller that factors in all of the cost and profit on the deal. To simplify the process and keep you on track, I developed a deal analyzer with built-in formulas, and I'll show you at the end of this video how to get that for free. I recommend you use this on every deal you look at. There are 5 primary steps to follow. Step 1, just like traditional wholesaling and fix and flip, is to start by establishing the value of the property. The difference, however, is we do not determine the after repair value, or ARV. Since we are not renovating the property and since we are not wholesaling to another cash buyer who is renovating it either, we are not concerned with the price the home will sell for after it's fully renovated. With the takedown method, we are simply reselling the property in its current condition, so all we need to know is the as-is value of the property as it sits. Now, finding as-is comparables or comps is often much easier because there are a lot more as-is comps than fully renovated ARV comps in any given market. And since the goal is to resell the property on the open market as quickly as possible, the as-is value needs to be adjusted for a quick sale. Once the property is listed for sale, the goal is to contract with a buyer right away, no later than 3 weeks. The takedown method fails if the properties don't resell quickly because financing fees will eat into your profits. Now, to ensure a quick sale, we don't just look at similar as-is condition comps that recently sold in the neighborhood, but we also look at relevant active homes currently for sale on the market. Actives are your competition. Since the objective of the takedown method is to sell quickly, the house will need to be priced below the current actives if there are any. For example, let's say that there are 5 homes for sale that are similar in condition in the same area as the subject property, and let's say that they are for sale for $375,000, and they've been sitting on the market for 90 days. Well, if our property gets listed for sale for the same price, $375,000 as well, it will more than likely sit and not sell with the others. But if it's priced below the competition at, let's say, $350,000, it will sell quickly. As a general rule of thumb, if there are a lot of actives on the market, I'll adjust the as-is market value down about 5 to 10% in order to beat out the competition. Now, using my takedown deal analyzer, you'll see a place to enter the sold comps. The goal is to find at least 5 relevant comps in the same condition that are sold in the past 6 months that are similar to the subject property and in the same neighborhood. Enter into the deal analyzer the addresses, square footages, sold prices, and sold dates. All of the cells in green are formulas, so be careful not to override them. Once you enter this information, the deal analyzer will automatically calculate the sold price per square foot and the averages. Next, do the same for the active properties for sale. Once you've gathered enough sold and active comps, the deal analyzer will automatically calculate a combined value, and then if you choose, you can add a market adjustment for a quick sale to get the final adjusted as-is value. Now, once the adjusted as-is value is determined, step 2 is to factor in all of the costs associated with buying and reselling the property. Using my takedown deal analyzer, the first cost is closing fees. Now, this is referring to title, escrow, prorations, and transfer tax when you buy and sell a property. Now, I usually factor 1% of the resale price to cover purchase fees and 2% to cover selling fees for a total of 3%. Now that may vary depending on your state and the customary fees, so you'll need to adjust accordingly, but as a general rule, 3% of the resale price covers closing fees. Now the second cost is the trash out, cleaning, and property insurance. And that cost is typically 1% of the sale price. Again, that may vary depending on the extent of the trash out, but the goal is to get the property vacant and clean so it shows well on the MLS. Now the third cost is commissions on the resale. I typically factor in 1% for the list fee and 3% for the buyer's agent fee. Now later in this series, I'll explain in detail how to use agents to sell your takedown deals, so keep watching. Step 3 is to calculate the funding or carrying cost. Remember, with the takedown method, you're buying the property and taking title without a predetermined buyer and holding it for 30 to 60 days. That means we need the capital to purchase the property. The goal is to fund the purchase with none of your money by using 100% funding. And you'll notice on my deal analyzer, there is a section dedicated just for calculating the cost of capital, but I'm not going to cover that now. Later, I'll dedicate an entire video to explain how to get 100% funding. For now, know that it's less than the cost of capital and more about the access to the capital. Without ease of capital to buy the properties, the takedown method doesn't work. With capital at your disposal, you will be unstoppable. You'll see on the deal analyzer that we budget 3% of the resale price to cover the cost of funding. Once you add up all the costs and the funding, it should account for about 11% of the adjusted as-is value. For the most part, these fees are fairly fixed, so there's not a lot of room to adjust them. That means if the property doesn't sell right away at the adjusted as-is value, the only place it comes from is profit. For that reason, you want to factor in a very healthy budget for profit. Now, my goal is to aim for 19 to 20% of the resale price. That gives me about 9 to 10% buffer in case things don't go exactly to plan. In my experience, after doing this strategy consistently for some time now, there are 3 unforeseens, I call them, that can eat into your profit. Unforeseen number 1 is it doesn't resell quickly. For whatever reason, be it the location, the condition, or any number of factors, it doesn't attract a buyer in less than 3 weeks, and it takes longer to sell, cutting into your profit. Unforeseen number 2 is it doesn't sell at your anticipated as-is price. Now to get it sold, you have to lower the price, which cuts into your profit. And unforeseen number 3 is the buyer demands repairs. Remember, if it's a retail buyer, he's probably getting an inspection and he may ask for repairs to be made or concessions for those repairs. This could be as little as a few $1,000s or much higher. Now in any event, just like with fix and flip, it's smart to factor in a high enough desired profit that allows for unforeseen circumstances so that you still make a healthy profit. Now my philosophy is, if I screw up the deal, I still want to make a decent profit. I believe the desired profit margin should be 19 to 20% of the resale value. Finally, step 5 is to subtract all of the cost and profit from the resale price to get your maximum allowable offer, which my deal analyzer does automatically for you. Notice with total cost of 11% and profit of 19%, the buy formula is simply 70% of the adjusted as-is value. That's it. Buy at 70% of the as-is value is way simpler than most wholesaling and fix and flip formulas. So let's look at an example. Let's say that the adjusted as-is value on a property is $325,000. Well, once I have my preset formulas on my deal analyzer, all I need to do is enter $325,000 into the deal analyzer and it does the rest. It automatically factors 3% for closing costs, 1% for trash out, cleaning and insurance, 4% total for commissions, 3% for funding, and 19% for profit, giving me a buy price of $227,500 or 70% of the as-is value. Now that means if all goes to plan, this deal would make almost $62,000 in net profit, which would easily be 3 to 4 times as much as a typical wholesale deal. But things don't always go to plan. Let's say it takes you 90 days instead of 60 days, so you have to pay more funding fees. And you have to drop the price and it sells for $310,000 instead of $325,000. And let's say you had to give the seller concessions to make repairs. At the end of the day, after you factor in all of the unforeseens, let's say you only make $30,000 instead of $62,000. Well, that's still double your typical wholesale deal, and in my book, a huge win. Okay, I hope you're as excited as me about doing the takedown method. As promised, I'm going to give you my deal analyzer for free. In fact, I put together an entire kit for you. In addition to the deal analyzer, I also included a getting started guide with step-by-step instructions, word-for-word seller scripts, the exact contract to use with sellers, and a funding pitch deck for raising money. And like I said, I'll give it all to you for free. Just go to freetakedownkit.com to download that now. All I ask in return is you leave a comment and say, "Thank you, Jerry, for the valuable free resources. You are a flipping genius." And if you find a good takedown deal that meets my buy criteria, I'll buy it and pay you a $10,000 finder's fee. To learn more, just go to my10kcheck.com. Finally, stay tuned for more videos in this series. On the next part 3 video, I'm gonna break down how to find the ideal takedown properties, how to negotiate with sellers, and how to beat out your competition. All of these videos in this series are organized into a playlist here on my channel. I'll put the link in the description below as well, and I'll see you on the next video.